to Cellar Dive episode number 23 of
Brutal Battle.
So, I believe we're putting this out after the last On the Shelf episode we just did. And in that episode, I said that we were probably doing the Pack Attack next. So, apologies. It's just scheduling-wise, we needed to do something quicker because of what was going on. So, we're throwing in a Cellar Dive, and then we should be doing the Pack Attack after this, unless we don't. But
it will be coming.
Yeah, it's going to happen regardless, and I think it's going to be an awesome time. But this will be interesting because, as you know, when we do Cellar Dive episodes, we're pulling out a lot of the times lately some pretty old beers.
Yeah, not always, but
for the yeah, that's true. But when we actually dive into our cellar, we're actually pulling out some kind of older stuff, and both of these are much older. The first one is a few months shy of 6.5 years in the bottle. And the second one is a few months shy of 7 years in the bottle. So they're not far off time-wise in the bottle. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of compare to how they've held up with each other. But they're also two pretty different beers. But as most people know with these cellar dives, things are actually cellared. They're typically going to be higher ABV, stouts or sours, something like that. So both of these are stouts of sorts. So it's all stouty.
Yeah.
Which I guess is fine because it's a little chilly outside when we're doing this right now. So you're a moody drinker. So
I am.
You know.
I am. So I keep telling Carlin we got to drink our stouts because stout season is about ending.
This is true. Yeah, and if both of these are just like terrible, there is one beer in the fridge right now that is also one that's been in there for a while that we could pull out and add on if we feel like it, but we don't have to. Well,
we'll see how we feel.
Yeah, we'll see how things go. I'm hoping to get one here that we want to drink, that we want to drink post podcast, but it is quite possible we won't want to do either. But all right, excuse me. So the first one is a tried and true brewery that we are fans of. We do like a lot of what they do. Dogfish Head Brewing out of Milton, Delaware. This is their worldwide stout. And I think actually this particular beer was given to us by Nathan Kalasnik way back, specifically to age. So we did that. I don't know if he thought that we would age it this long, but we did. So ABV on these, it's usually pretty high. I don't think it says. Oh, or is it up top? No? I don't see it. Might have to look it up on Untappd. Can you grab my phone? And I know it's usually up there, but actually, can you use my Untappd and look it up? Or your own? I don't, either way. And then I'll just, I'll do the pouring. But one of the things I do want to say about this beer in particular is I've always really loved the caps they use for these. I don't know if they still do because I haven't bought something like a Worldwide Stout or their higher ABV beers in a while. But they at least used to have this really cool one. It's kind of like a triangular kind of yield symbol, but it's got a shark kind of going after like a ball. So it's kind of a bit of like an exclamation point inside of like an upside down triangle. It looks cool. And it's like kind of like almost like a hot yellow color. So I just like it. It pops. It's a cool bottle. Cap.
Worldwide Stout 18%.
Okay. Yeah. I knew it was pretty up there. So this is like the brewery level beers, alcohol wise. Okay. So let's start in these.
I didn't look up that vintage, but
that's fine. I mean, they're usually around the same. So okay. All right. I'm hoping it's okay. I mean, typically beers that get aged that are by Dogfish Head typically do okay. Mm-hmm. Okay to actually quite well. So, and I think we also still have a vanilla oak aged version of this aging down in the basement. I think it's our last one, and that one's got to be pretty close to the same age.
Now they have Worldwide Stout with coffee, right?
Do they? Oh yeah, I think you might be right. I kind of want that, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe we should pick that up, but what are you smelling?
It smells boozy.
It smells really boozy. But
it's very chocolatey.
Yeah, it's real chocolatey and roasty. There's a nice, like, roastiness on the end. There's a little bit of, like, a ashy note. in the finish, like a little charcoaly ash type smell. Mm-hmm. Not that it's bad. There's a very, very... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Very slight soy sauce. Very slight.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's kind of like the soy sauce and the ashiness are very low level, but you kind of get them at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting almost a little licorice too.
I get a little green olive, which I hate that smell. Actually, the more I smell it, I'm getting more of the green olive, which I'm not a big fan of.
I can see that.
It doesn't mean that's going to be in the flavor, so
but
hoping it's not.
Mostly chocolatey and roasty.
Yeah.
And boozy.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Based off the nose, I'm kind of expecting this won't be that great.
Doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it's primarily like hot from the alcohol.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's just like a little chocolatey and boozy.
Yeah, slight chocolatiness. The booze like overpowers everything. Although a few more sips and, our palates will acclimate to it a little bit better, but the booze on that first sip really kind of overpowers a lot. But yeah, like Rebecca said, there's a bit of a chocolatiness. It's like a dark chocolate. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a raisin quality in there. I'm getting that ashiness on the flavor.
It definitely warms you up. I feel warm. I feel it like down my throat. Like
it's not great.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not. This amount of age on it is not doing well. This is a good beer when it's fresh and when it's aged a little bit, but I think almost 6.5 years, it's just too much at this point. It's really just too much. Yeah, the alcohol's, it's so overpowering. The balance of the initial beer is just so out of kilter. This is what it is. All right, yeah. We'll end up dumping that for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's not doing great. I also am tasting a little of that green olive.
It would be really interesting to do a vertical with this beer.
Oh, yeah.
To try to really find like that just right age.
We have done verticals on the podcast before. Yeah. It's been a while, but if people are interested in that, you can go to the website brutalbattle.com or go to archive.org and search Brutal Battle and then just put in, on either site in the search function, vertical or Brutal Battle vertical in archive.org.
And it'll Old come Rasputin.
Up. I don't think we did Old Rasputin. I know we did Backwoods Bastard. Yes. I think we did a Bourbon County. We did there was something else we did too. There were I think 2 others that we ended up doing as well, but you'll have to look. I mean, we've been doing this for 11 years, so it's kind of hard to remember everything, but we did a few of them. I think 4 total verticals, maybe something like that. Okay. Anyway, do you want to introduce the second beer?
Sure. So the first one was the one I picked.
Right.
And the second one's the one Carlin picked.
Yeah.
So this one is Black Butte 26th Birthday Reserve. And this is by Deschutes Brewery out of Bend, Oregon. It is an ale brewed with pomegranate molasses with 50% aged in bourbon barrels, blended with ale with cocoa nibs and cranberry added. And it is 10.8.
So significantly less boozy. Also, I feel like with all the extra added stuff, it has a better chance of being more okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We'll see. It sounds good.
You don't know.
Where do we get this one? You don't remember.
There's nothing messed up on the cap.
Yeah.
It is waxed on top, so it seems like it probably did a good job keeping the oxygen out.
Not a ton of wax, because we just got it with a regular bottle opener.
Right, yeah. It's one coating. Literally one coating of wax.
And you said you don't remember where we got this, or if someone gave it to us.
No, we purchased it I know we purchased it somewhere, and when we purchased it, we got 2 of them. One for aging and one that we had fresh. And I think we actually had the fresh version on the podcast a long time ago, and I think it may have been in one of our tournaments actually for Stouts tournament. So that's another thing if people want to search for. Okay, so let's.
We didn't talk about the color on either of these, but
yeah, they're stouts.
They're stouts.
Yeah, they're stouts, people.
They don't. Nothing funny about them.
Immediately, the big difference between these 2 beers is that when you swirl this one up, it falls down relatively quickly off the sides versus the Worldwide Stout because of the ABV being so high. It just slowly comes down. Okay, smell.
It's very woody.
It is woody, but I get like licorice, like red licorice. And I get that molasses. This is actually smelling more, like it has more depth.
Yes.
Than the Worldwide Stout.
It has more flavors because there's more things going on to it.
I see what you're saying about the wood, though.
So woody. It's hard to get past that. And I'm getting the olive on this.
Yeah, I'm also getting it. I'm also getting something that's coming off like a little bit like menthol-y, like mint-ish. Mm. It's a little odd. Maybe that's part of what that olive portion is doing to it. There is some dark chocolate in there. There is also a bit of an ashiness, just like with the Dogfish head.
I can't get past the wood and the olive.
It's not a great nose, but it is kind of interesting.
My first sniff, I was like, "Oh, this smells good." And the more I go in, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, cranberry. I guess I'm smelling some of the cranberry because there is a fruitiness in the nose. And I feel like I am getting the molasses at times. It's interesting. All right, Rebecca went in.
I think I'm getting the cranberry.
Yeah. There's definitely a fruitiness to it. It's pretty bitter on the finish, and it's kind of drying.
Yes.
And the bitterness leads into that ashy flavor. So you kind of feel like you're getting like a little actual like ash in the beer because it is like dry. I don't think it's terrible.
I don't like it.
But I don't like
right. I don't think it's terrible, but it's better than the Worldwide Stout.
Sure.
But I don't need to drink more of it.
Do you see what I'm talking about with that kind of like menthol-y note? That like it's a little bit almost mint derived. It's kind of odd. I don't know what's up with that. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I wouldn't have picked it out myself, but now that you planted that seed,
it's very woody too. I think it's probably just like all these flavors kind of like being distorted over time and how they're playing with each other in just this odd way. And that's what's giving that kind of like menthol note. I'm happy that I'm getting that cranberry, like that fruitiness. I wouldn't be able to call it cranberry.
No.
But it is giving you like that fruity tartness in there, which is, welcome on this flavor profile for what's going on. But yeah, I mean, this is...
And I didn't say this was a 22-ounce bottle. Mm-hmm. And the Worldwide Stout was a 12-ounce bottle.
From back when 22-ounce bottles were a thing.
Yeah, you don't see them anymore.
I mean, I'm kind of glad, honestly, because, we like to drink kind of smaller portions now. And especially when it's larger beers, too. Like, it becomes too much. And I think the market just kind of moved that way. So the market, like the industry moved away from those because they weren't selling as well. But I remember, like, there used to be a lot of beers in 22s. And at this point, I don't see any, really. No. Well, not any, but, like, barely anything. I see barely any. It's all primarily, like, 16-ounce cans, some 12-ounce cans, some 12-ounce bottles, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Let's get ponies, then, for Rebecca. Remember how we would talk about that on the podcast? How you wanted like ponies,
I did, little baby beers,
like 7 ounce. I think that's what ponies are, like 7 or 7.5 ounce.
That's like the perfect size, I think.
Yeah. Plus, they're called ponies, which is kind of cute, So that helps. But I'm not going to add on another beer. Like this is what it is. I think we're going to have to find other stuff to drink off podcast, which is fine because we have stuff. We always have stuff, but. This might be, for the most part, what to expect when we do more cellar dives and we're actually pulling out of what's been aged. But we do have some other stuff in there that's not like stouts. I think I have like a Scotch ale or something in there that we could pull out. We also have, and I don't even know if we want to try this at any point, we have the Crime and Punishment beers from Stone from many years ago. And those are supposed to be like hot peppers. So I don't, like, over time, have they really mellowed out and they're not really hot anymore? I don't know. Like, I'm kind of curious, but I kind of don't want to do it because I don't handle heat all that well. I don't know. I don't even know why I bought those beers. I have no idea.
Did you buy them?
Yes. I think it was the concept got me, and like the exclusivity from. I mean, I bought them a long time ago. So
I thought maybe
no one gave them to me. Like I bought those.
You bought them.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then, like, not long after I bought them, I was kind of like, I'm not sure I should have done that. Like, why?
And we haven't drunk them since.
Oh, no. But, you know, I am curious that if over time, like, the heat just
I'm sure
dies.
It did, don't you think?
Well, there's one way to find out.
Yeah. That
could be a cellar dive. We just do those too.
Is punishment hotter?
Yeah. Crime is hot and punishment's hotter. I think it lists on the bottles, like, what peppers are in them. Because it's not just, like, one type of pepper for each. I think it's, like, multiples.
It's a blend of peppers.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that would be interesting. Obviously, our sips would be, like, very small, probably. But, I don't know. We'll think about that one. Yeah. But if you want that one, or you want something else, or any other format, you can email us.
I mean, our beer cellar... the actual, cellar, the beers that we have cellared is dwindling.
Yeah. And then that's good.
Yeah.
That's definitely good.
Because I think what we've kind of learned is,
it's not
no
worth
beer,
it. No.
holds up that long.
For some hold up really well for a few years.
Yeah. But
the problem is a lot of the times you just get focused on what's new and coming out, and that stuff gets forgotten, and then you're going in 6.5, 7 years later, and you're like, oh crap, I have this. Let's try it. And then it's no good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, cautionary tale, but yeah, I thought at one point cellaring beers was a cool idea. I don't think so anymore. I really don't think so anymore. Fresher's typically better. So, but hey, we'll keep doing this experiment. Like I said, if you want to email us, brutalbattlepodcast@gmail.com. Help us out, rate us and review us through whatever podcatcher you use to listen. iTunes is probably the most helpful, but also do word of mouth. Tell people about the podcast, and also social medias. We're on Instagram,
Brutal Battle Podcast,
and Untapped,
Ruby Reb 62,
and I'm Carlton Malibu, all one word. If you want to be our virtual beer drinking buddies, because are you checking in anymore? Or here and there?
Here and there. I kind of just forget sometimes.
Okay. That's fine. I am always checking in.
Yeah, Carlin checks in
every single time. So you can rest assured that if Rebecca's not checking in, most likely she's also drinking that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
very rarely do we.
Right.
Sometimes you'll have a beer without me, and I'll have a beer without you.
Sometimes.
Normally, if I'm drinking without you, though, I'm drinking wine.
Wine, yeah, typically. Yes, that's true. But hey, this is always fun. Thank you, everyone, for listening, whether this is your first time or you've been with us for a long time. We appreciate everyone listening. We really do. We have fun doing this, and we don't have, a huge fan base or anything. We have listeners for sure, but we don't have a huge fan base, so we do this because we're having a good time, and it's a fun hobby. So thank you, everyone, but until next time.
Keep it brutal.
I feel so